today's, they went through an exhaustive comparison. What will you, here's the question, what will you as Chief Executive Officer of this city do to restore the balance between salary and job security in the immediate short term and then over the long term, if you can? Tell us.
One little, first of all, I have a lot of respect for these guys, and I don't take it on the bridge mostly.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Well, it should be.
You want to stand in front of this, Tony?
No, this is fine. I said, usually I don't take umbrage with the facts in the daily news articles, but there's one part, there is one thing I do take umbrage with, and I mentioned it to the reporter. I can tell you for a fact that last year I brought all the economists together, and the economists told us, it was Jack Kaiser, it was all of the economists, UCLA economists. We bring a group of them, it's like 5 of them every year, and they give a report to the mayor. They all said that the housing, they all said that we could have a slowdown in the housing market. Nobody back then predicted that we were going to have the crisis. I mean, that we're having now. Nobody predicted it last year. I mean, any of you who read the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Financial Times, nobody back then last year was predicting it. So the idea that someone said that they were just isn't true. And very importantly, I actually joked with them this year because to the person, they said that sales tax would be up, revenues would be up 4 to 5%, and sales tax revenues were down, and documentary tax transfers were down. Anybody that would argue that they knew a year ago everything that I mean, come on, nobody did. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the crisis that we're in. And I'm certainly not an expert, and I didn't know. That's the only thing. I'm not taking umbrage with the reporter as much as I am with whoever said that they advised us that the economy was going to be where it is. Because, that didn't happen. Now, on this issue, look, last year, if you remember, I had a strike against me because I wouldn't give the engineers and architects, an 18 to 24% increase. When people, and ultimately I held firm on a 3.5 and 3.75, something to that. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was under 4. Then, with what they called the coalition of unions, they talk about me giving them a 23% raise, and me and the council, but I'll put it on me, not the council, me. Let me be clear about this one. It's just not, it's not an accurate statement to say. Let me tell you why. In the first year, and I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, in the first year I think it was 3.2, 3.4, in the second year it was something close to that, and then in the third, fourth, and fifth year they got a 2.5% extra. So it seemed like they're getting 5%. Now, what the papers didn't write about, because we didn't emphasize that much, honestly, because we wanted to get it passed, is that in the third, fourth, and fifth year, the unions have to give me back $25 million in savings in health care benefits and or pension benefits, so to pay for that extra 2.5%. So it's really not accurate that they got a 5% raise. In fact, if they only get to 22 million instead of the 25 million each year, we get to keep the 22 million and don't have to give them the 2.5%. Now that's the fact, but you wouldn't know that reading any of the newspapers because they just said 5.5% in the third, fourth, and fifth year. When we gave 3%, at the time the CAO, the CLA, all of them said, some of these employees in the years before that had gotten, I think, 2, 0, 2, and 2. And, they were behind, you know, inflation and cost of living. And so we said, you know, we're gonna give them the raise that we gave them. Now, in the Daily News editorial board, they asked me, would you have done that if you'd known the economy is where it is today? And I said, of course not. But I didn't know, you know, and neither did I love these economists that, you know, I mean, if they knew so much, why are we in this crisis? I mean, the fact of the matter is, nobody, you know, a year ago, 9 months ago, when this was negotiated, you know, nobody knew that it was gonna be to this extent. We knew the housing was slowing down, but we didn't know we were gonna be in the worst housing slump. Any real estate people here? Most of you lost all your money. I mean, you just have. So, look, what are we gonna do? I've said to the unions the following. I'm gonna cut 767 positions. That's about 350 people roughly. Now, just so you know, in general fund jobs, no mayor has cut that much since 1983. In fact, in 1983 was the last time we had layoffs, and they were a handful of layoffs. We can't remember a time when the city's laid off. I'm gonna be the first mayor.
350 people are gonna be laid off? Is that what you're saying?
Roughly 350. As I understand it from what the CAO has informed me, there's 767 jobs that we're eliminating. But because some of them are not filled,
right,
it's gonna be about 350 odd, about half of them are gonna be actual layoffs. What I've said to the unions, I'd like to keep layoffs at a minimum. So I'm seeking 6 mandatory furlough days. Now, they're against it. It may be that I'm not able to successfully negotiate 6 the council's against it too. I've said, you know, look, I wanna lay off as few people as possible, but we gotta make cuts, so I want more mandatory layoffs. What I'm making clear, if we don't do 6 mandatory layoffs, which is, you know,
6
6 days.
Furlough.
I'm sorry,
Six
not
furlough.
mandatory layoffs.
Yeah, that's okay, that's okay.
They're called temporary layoffs. If we don't do 6 mandatory furlough days, then we're gonna have to lay off even more than 700. We're gonna have to eliminate even more than 767 positions, you know? And one thing about me, I'm not afraid to make a tough decision, and I will. You know, I've said to the council, I want to, for every $1.50, for every dollar of revenue, I'm gonna cut $1.50 out of the budget. And that way I can go back to you, and you may still not like, you may wish that I cut no revenue increase and cut, you know, $3.50 for every dollar. I mean, that may be what you want, but what I've said to people is, that way I can go to people with a straight face and say we're also making cuts. My concern right now is what I told you earlier. Initial council discussions was they think my revenue estimates are too high, and yet they're cutting less than I am. And I'm saying we're not going to do that. So,
Okay.
you know, I'll just reiterate what I said in the Daily News. Obviously, if I had known last year, would we have given, I think it's 3.25, 3.25, 3.5, and 3.75, plus the 2.5 that we give in the third, fourth, and fifth year, which they have to pay for. See, the extra amount they have to pay for. That's what people didn't realize. So you read it in the paper, and it sounds like we're giving them all 5.5%. We're really not. They're going to have to pay for that out of cuts in, you know, efficiencies and health benefits